Have you ever wondered why some men seem to attract women effortlessly, without being rich, flashy, or even particularly charming? What if I told you the type of man 99% of women secretly desire isn't who you think it is? And what if this desire isn't even something most women consciously understand themselves? Let's talk about the one truth that can flip everything you thought you knew about attraction. Most guys would scroll past this in seconds. But if you're still here, you're different. Because what you're about to hear, it's not in dating books, it's not on TikTok, and it's definitely not what your friends are telling you at the bar. This is the kind of insight that only a small group of men ever figure out. And once they do, it changes everything. These men, the ones who get it, they're not chasing. They're not trying too hard. They're the ones women secretly fantasize about when no one's looking. Now, real talk, most guys will never understand this. Not because it's complicated, but because it goes against everything we've been taught. But those who do understand, they become unforgettable. And before we dive in, yes, there's a members-only space where I share the stuff that can't be said publicly. It's unfiltered, no fluff, no performance. Just raw, behind-the-scenes insight. Links down below, if you're ready for that level. But for now, let's start right here. Sign number 1. The man who doesn't flinch, she can't resist him. Not because he's rich. Not because he's overly nice. But because he doesn't flinch. Let me paint the picture for you. There's a certain kind of man who carries a quiet intensity, not arrogant, not loud, but calm and rooted. He doesn't crave validation. He doesn't seek approval. And the energy he gives off, women can feel it without a word. Now imagine this. She's used to guys who adjust their tone to match hers. Guys who laugh too hard at her jokes. Guys who double text, triple text, just to keep the conversation going. Then she meets you. You listen without trying to impress. You can disagree without backing down just to keep her happy. You stay grounded even if she's stunning. That's when something short circuits in her mind. Why? Because deep down, women are wired to respect a man who doesn't move through life needing permission to exist. A man who's not afraid to walk away. A man who can look at the situation and say, this, it's not for me, even if she's gorgeous. Even if she checks every box. That kind of man, he hits her at a primal level. He becomes the exception to everything she's used to. Let me give you a real example. One of my clients, Mike, a quiet software engineer, found himself in exactly this situation. What happened next might surprise you. Let single quotes keep going. She walked up to him, expecting the usual reaction. But instead of nervously jumping into conversation, he did something no one expected. He yawned. Not in a rude or dismissive way, just a relaxed, genuine yawn. He was simply tired, and he didn't pretend otherwise. And guess what? That tiny act of unfiltered honesty hooked her for months. Why? Because he didn't perform. He didn't scramble for her approval. He didn't flinch. And that energy? It's magnetic. He didn't care if she replied late. Didn't panic if she changed plans. Didn't chase for attention. And ironically, that's exactly what got her attention. Because women don't obsess over men who chase them. They obsess over the ones they can't quite figure out. Sign number 2, the mirror. He reflects. He doesn't perform. Have you ever talked to someone and felt truly seen, like they weren't judging or analyzing you, but just noticing you? That's the second kind of man women can't resist. The one who reflects her world back to her, instead of performing in his own. Let's be real, most men perform. They talk about their cars, their jobs, their achievements. It's like they're auditioning for a part she never asked them to play. But then there's a different kind of presence, the mirror. He doesn't try to impress, he listens. When she talks about her dreams, he's not waiting for his turn to talk. When she shares something painful, he doesn't jump in to fix it. He stays right there with her in it. He reflects what she's feeling, and that presence? It's powerful in the quietest way, because most women live in a world where they're constantly being sold to by ads, by apps, by men trying to win them over. But when a man isn't trying to sell anything, he becomes a breath of fresh air. Here's a quick example. She says, "I've been working 14-hour days trying to get this promotion." A performer would say, "Oh yeah, I run my own business. 16-hour days, no breaks." Translation? He's trying to compete, but the mirror says, "Sounds exhausting. Do you feel like it's worth it?" Boom. That's not just a question. That's connection. That's intimacy. You didn't just hear her, you saw her. And in that moment, she feels something she hasn't felt in a long time. Safe. And here's the truth. When a woman feels safe with a man, everything changes. Suddenly, she's texting first. She's rereading your messages. She's thinking about you when she closes her laptop at night. So when a woman feels safe, she leans in. But when a man remains grounded, even in that closeness, he becomes something more. Not just a person. An experience. Sign number 3, the storm in his calm. She starts trying to decode you. Because now, you're the mystery. You're not just a guy. You're a feeling. A presence. A story she can't quite finish in her mind. There's a rare kind of man who walks into a room and doesn't make a sound. He doesn't need attention. He doesn't chase the spotlight. And yet, people notice. Especially women. They can't explain it. But they feel it, that tension, that quiet fire. It's a storm carefully contained beneath still water. This man is calm, yes, but never soft. He's composed. But not to be underestimated. It's in the way he holds eye contact, just a moment longer. In how he doesn't over-explain himself. In how he lets her feel her emotions without trying to fix them. He could say 5 words during an entire conversation, but every one of them lands. And here's what surprises most people. This man could be anyone, a barista or a billionaire. Because what draws women isn't status, it's presence. It's the way he carries himself. He's centered, grounded, rooted in who he is. And that stillness? It speaks louder than words. She leans in, curious. She tests, she pokes. She stirs the pot a little, but he doesn't react. He doesn't flinch. Not out of arrogance, but out of certainty. It reminds me of a quote from Marcus Aurelius. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. And that's exactly it. She senses that he's gone inward. That he's done the work. He's whole on his own and doesn't need anything from her. So when she steps into his world, it's like walking into a cathedral of silence. Still, safe, strong. But that silence, it echoes inside her. It makes her heart race. Her mind spiral. She keeps asking herself, what is it about him? And she may never fully figure it out. But that mystery is what keeps her coming back. Sign number 4. The man who knows when to walk away now. Here's where things get even more powerful. There's a rare, almost haunting strength in the man who knows exactly when to leave. Not ghosting. Not disappearing to play games. Not acting mysterious for attention. I'm talking about the man who can calmly, silently, and confidently exit the moment he sees something is off. Maybe you've seen this kind of guy on screen or in real life. He's at dinner with a woman. She starts pushing boundaries, testing him, stirring drama. And instead of arguing, pleading, or proving himself, he just smiles, stands up, and walks away. No fuss. No need for a scene. Just gone. And that's what drives her crazy. Not because he was rude. Not because he exploded. But because he didn't need her validation. This type of man? He's rare. Most women will tell you they've never met someone like that. But when they do, they remember him forever. Why? Because most guys over-explain. They chase. They try to prove they're worthy, even when the woman isn't meeting them halfway. But this man, he values peace over approval. He values self-respect over attention. He knows the cost of staying where he's not respected, and he refuses to pay it. There's a quote by Robert Greene that fits perfectly. The ability to walk away without looking back is a power few possess and everyone respects. So, how do you become that kind of man? It starts with something simple, but not easy. You master detachment. You love yourself enough to never let anyone treat you like a backup plan, a placeholder, or an afterthought. And when a woman realizes you're the kind of man who will walk away without hesitation, she stops testing. She starts chasing. Because now your time has value. It means something. Let me tell you a story that brings this to life. One guy I worked with shared this moment with me. He was dating a girl who kept texting other guys. Just friends, she'd say. But the excuses kept piling up. So what did he do? Instead of starting a fight or giving ultimatums, he simply said, "Hey, you're free to do whatever you want." So when he said, "You're free to do whatever you want," he wasn't bluffing. What came next showed just how powerful true detachment can be. He followed that line with this: "But I'm not the guy who waits around while someone decides if I'm worth it." Simple, calm, direct. She laughed at first, said he was overreacting, but he didn't flinch. He just smiled, deleted her number, and disappeared. 2 weeks passed. Guess who showed up in his DMs? Hirsch, saying she missed him, saying she messed up, saying she wanted to talk, but by then, he'd already moved on. And that right there is how you leave a lasting impression. Not by playing games, not by acting cold, but by living with unshakable standards. That's the kind of energy that haunts a woman in the best way. Sign number 5. The man who makes her feel like the only woman in the room. Without saying a word, there's something subtle, almost mysterious about how attraction really works. See, women don't always fall for what you say. They fall for how you make them feel. And there's one kind of man who can lock eyes from across a crowded room, say nothing, and still make her heart skip a beat. That man owns something even money can't buy. Presence. Not loud confidence, not smooth talk or over-the-top charm, but a grounded, calm energy that makes her feel seen. Truly seen. For just one moment, she feels like the only person in your world. And here's the kicker. You don't need a pickup line. You don't need to show off. In fact, your silence becomes your secret weapon. Here's a real story that sums it up beautifully. A woman posted on Reddit about a party she went to. Crowded, loud, everyone trying to be the center of attention. But one guy stood out. He wasn't saying much. He was sharp, clean, confident, but quiet. Every time she glanced at him, he didn't look away. He held eye contact, calm, playful, but never creepy. Eventually she walked over to him. She started. The conversation. Her exact words: "You looked like you didn't need anyone, but I wanted to be the one you wanted." Boom. That's it. That's the whole game. He didn't chase. He didn't overtry. He didn't act thirsty. He held his frame, and that made her step into his world. Because when a man makes a woman feel desired, but never desperate, she leans in. She chooses to close the distance. Women are naturally drawn to men who make them feel special without making themselves small. To men who uplift without self-abandonment. To men who remain a little mysterious. In a world that's always oversharing and seeking validation, that kind of presence doesn't end when the party does. It lingers. It stays in her mind. It becomes a memory that plays again and again, like her favorite scene in a movie. So, next time you walk into a room, don't try too hard. Don't chase. Don't perform. Just be. Be still. Be grounded. Be watchful. And now, you might be wondering, how do you build that kind of presence consistently? Well, let's talk about that next. So instead of chasing, you stood still. You let your presence speak before you even said a word. And that quiet strength? It stayed with her long after she walked away. Sign number 6. The man who turns his pain into power. Let's talk about something most men avoid, but women sense instantly. Here's a truth many guys miss. Women are unbelievably good at sensing emotional strength. And no, I'm not talking about that fake tough guy act, the "I never cry" mask. That's not strength. That's fear in disguise. Real strength, it comes from the man who's been through hell. The one who's faced heartbreak, failure, betrayal. And instead of crumbling, he rebuilt himself. He didn't numb it. He didn't hide it. He transformed it. This man wears his scars like armor, not to show off, not to get sympathy, but because he owns his story. He's not pretending to be unbreakable. He's showing the world, "I broke, and I came back stronger." Here's a quote that nails it from Carl Jung. "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That's what this kind of man has done. He's met his shadows face to face, and now he moves through the world with clarity and calm, and women feel it. They feel safe around him, not just physically, but emotionally, because this man isn't reactive. He doesn't get triggered easily. He doesn't engage in petty games or ego battles. His calm isn't a performance. It's earned. Let me tell you a story that captures this perfectly. There was a guy I knew, heartbroken, completely shattered after being cheated on by the love of his life. It nearly destroyed him, but instead of sinking into bitterness, he rose. He started reading. He traveled. He trained. He found mentors and rebuilt his identity, not just for dating, but for himself. And when he started dating again, women could feel it. There was something different about him. He didn't rush things. He wasn't clingy. He noticed red flags and calmly walked away when needed. He had this grounded, unshakable presence. One day, he told me, "The worst thing that ever happened to me became the best, because now I walk with depth." And women feel that before I even say a word. That's what happens when pain becomes power, when loss turns into leadership. When the storm doesn't destroy you, it refines you. And that kind of transformation, it's magnetic. So if you've been betrayed, disappointed, abandoned, don't hide it. Don't bury your story. Use it. Refine it. Let it shape you, not as a victim, but as a man who's grown through the fire. Because a man who carries emotional gravity, who radiates wisdom, stillness, and truth, he doesn't just attract women. He inspires them. That's the kind of man she never forgets. And the fact that you've made it all the way to the end, that already separates you from 90% of men. Most guys click away. They chase tricks. They look for shortcuts. But you're still here. Because you don't just want to attract, you want to understand, to elevate, to master your energy so deeply that people feel it before you even speak. You're not here to play a part. You're here to embody the man you were always meant to become. So here's the real question. Now that you know all this, what will you do with it? You've just uncovered the truth about the kind of man 99% of women are drawn to. But this isn't about pretending. It's not about playing a role. It's about living with intention. Walking like you own your story. And speaking like every word carries weight. Now that you've reclaimed your story, walking with purpose, speaking with weight, the next step isn't about chasing anything. It's about becoming someone that the right people naturally gravitate toward. Move like a man who doesn't chase because he doesn't have to. The ones who matter will always feel your presence. And they'll take notice. Not because you're trying to impress them, but because your energy speaks before your words do. And if you're truly serious about leveling up, not just in dating, but in every part of life, then stay close. Because this is where the noise ends. No fluff, no gimmicks. Just raw, unfiltered insight built on Stoic strength and lived experience. Drop a comment below and tell me, which type of man are you stepping into? Or maybe, which one have you already become? Because at the end of the day, here's the truth. A lion doesn't lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. So stop explaining. Stop shrinking. Stop apologizing for being powerful. Be the lion. Now before you click away, understand something clearly. What I've shared in this video, that's just the beginning. If you're the kind of man who doesn't settle for surface level tips, if you want to master the deeper, unspoken dynamics of attraction, confidence, control, and influence, then I'm personally inviting you into something most men will never experience. The Stoic Inner Circle. A private, members-only space where the transformation runs deep. Inside, you'll get access to uncensored strategies I can't say publicly. Psychological breakdowns of female behavior that'll make you 10x sharper in every interaction. Weekly member-exclusive videos, voice notes, and deep dive lessons. Direct contact with me and a growing tribe of high-value strategic men like you. Men who are serious. Men who don't chase. Men who don't settle. This is where the real shift happens. And once you're inside, you'll see why some men never get ghosted, never overextend, and never wonder where they stand. Because they've already become the man who commands respect. In silence, spots are limited. Why? Because power is reserved for the few who are ready. The door is open now, but not for long. So if you're done fantasizing about results and ready to live them, click the link in the description and join the members room. Because the man who walks alone walks faster. But the man who walks with a mission, he becomes unstoppable. This is your mission now. Start walking.